Hey there and welcome back to another Miraculous Ladybug video. And today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. And that is some pretty important news for the Miraculous franchise as a whole. The creation of a brand new company, Miraculous Corp, that will oversee the creative and economic future of the entire franchise. And at first I thought, this doesn't feel legitimate to me. It was just in a few comments I saw on social media, and the name Miraculous Corp kind of sounded a bit dumb, locking yourself into a box on what type of content you're going to be making forever. Then I thought about it, and Nintendo and Game Freak in the late 90s pulled together to create a new company in the wake of the overwhelming popularity of Pokemon. They had a need to adequately manage the assets and the opportunities that the franchise had presented to them, and they called that the Pokemon Company, so maybe it does make sense to call it Miraculous Corp. And so suddenly the name, it did make sense. But it doesn't mean it wasn't fake. Then I saw a tweet, yes, a tweet, I'm not calling it an X, Elon, but a tweet from Variety and a link to their article. And well, I'm pretty sure Variety and the trade magazines in general, but Variety, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, they're all usually quite legit. This is where the companies are going to intentionally funnel info to, and they have the best sources and whatnot, so it feels trustworthy. And so I read through the article, and there's a little bit to cover. For starters, the new company is a joint venture between Media One and Zag Entertainment. And who are these companies, you might ask? Well, Zag Entertainment is pretty much Zagtoon, Zag's company that pumps out all the shows, including Miraculous, and Media One is the parent company of Method Animation. And these two are two of the primary partners on the creation of the original show, so not much is changing in regard to the power players here. The key creative team's simply going to be moving over to this new company, and Method and Zagtoon is going to be doing other things, I'd assume, while Zag himself seems to be wearing many different hats. What else is new? He's going to be the Kevin Feige type guy for this era, I suspect. I mean, he probably already was, but now it's all under this new umbrella. Variety writes, Miraculous Corp will join all facets of the Miraculous franchise under one roof, with Media One taking 60% ownership and Zag the other 40%. Zag founder and Miraculous co-creator Jeremy Zag will continue as the major shareholder and board member whilst overseeing the development and the creation of new storylines and characters within the franchise. So, yeah, just looks like the big wigs wanted to consolidate the company. And that makes a lot of sense. According to the same article, Miraculous has really picked up a lot of steam in terms of, merch sales. It's earned $400 million in merch figures across 2023. That's pretty big. And I think over the years, it's only going to continue to grow. Every time the rights are going to come up, I guarantee we're going to see Disney keep making power plays. Right now, the broadcasting situation, it's a very tangled web. Go on the Miraculous wiki and look at all the different countries and all the different broadcasters. Disney Plus is for a lot of them, but not all of them. But slowly but surely, I think they're going to want to gobble them all up. And the reach of being broadcast by Disney, which is the second biggest streaming service next to Netflix, as opposed to just being limited to normal TV or cable, I think it's going to keep growing the franchise as a whole and make it more lucrative. So yeah, it makes sense to get that infrastructure in place to deal with that now, so you don't have all the different divisions that are divided up amongst various different companies. And then on top of that, the article makes it very clear the movie adaptation was an overwhelming success. It was the most watched French animated film in history at the box office, and on top of that, it did well on Netflix. So I suspect it made its money back and then some. And so all of this profitability, it makes a lot of sense that they're branching out. They have the show which has always been popular, but has the potential of future growth. They have all this merch that they're selling like hotcakes. They have the TV specials, a new film franchise they want to explore, games, books, manga, comics. This is a lot of different properties, but it's all spilled out across various different companies. Streamlining everything, getting it all under one umbrella, different divisions, it just makes a lot of sense. And so I don't really think it's going to change all that much, just stuff behind the scenes that we don't really care about. These things are still going to be made, just now I think they're going to be more interconnected oversight in that regard. And in my eyes, that can only be a good thing for the quality and success of the franchise. And I'll be honest, I kind of thought the whole thing had hit its peak by this point, that there was nowhere to go but down. But this kind of shows a confidence in the franchise from a business point of view. Like, these big media conglomerates like Media One, they're not usually in favor of just pissing money away. So the fact that they've created this new company to handle the workload and free up their resources in Method and Zagtoon for other properties, it shows that Miraculous needed that infrastructure in order to adequately handle the scope of their franchise. And on top of that, the Media One founder was talking about making a dedicated team. So do you think they're eventually going to cut out all the other production studios and simply do everything in-house? I honestly have no idea about how that kind of thing works, so just speculation. But yeah, I think all of this just goes to show that no matter what us commentators and stuff say, we don't really know jack shit sometimes. Hitting its peak. Imagine that. It certainly has not hit its peak now, and we can probably assume that they're not only going to have more than 1 or 2 more seasons and call it a day, but just continue the franchise indefinitely, because otherwise, why would you bother with all of this for a franchise that would be dead in a couple of years? It's like how they've made a custom Avatar studio for the Avatar franchise. It means they want to keep going. Realistically, they want to keep it going forever in some form or another. So it's going to be the 2020s and beyond. It's going to be their time to continue to grow the franchise. So at the very least, I'll still have some content going forward. Hooray!
I see this as an absolute win.
And on top of that, I think we're going to start seeing content droughts become less and less. Right now, we have gaps of like a year or so. But now, there's always going to be something in the pipeline so we don't end up going that full year or so without any content at all. I mean, I could be wrong and this is just my idle speculation, but when you look at the plans they do have in the pipeline, and then on top of that, what Variety has reported, it makes it clear that they either have like a full 10-year plan already that they've announced, or they're going to start to ramp up releases over the coming years. Because they have the show, of which the next season is supposed to start airing, this year sometime, towards the end of the year? Like, the release itself tells us that Season 6 and Season 7 are in production. I mean, sorry, my finger's not completely on the pulse here right now, so not fully aware of timelines and dates, but that's still a lot of work. They also have a bunch of specials in the pipeline that we know about. On top of that, ZAG keeps threatening to make a live-action movie. Ooh, of all their plans, that's the one I do not want. It would be truly terrible, I think. Best not. But yeah, with this new company, I feel like the likelihood of that project getting off the ground, it does increase. Ugh, no thanks. But yeah, the article continues to discuss further announcements surrounding the franchise. We're getting more specials, even some spin-offs, with character names announced such as, Lady Dragon, and honestly, I always felt like this character was primed for a spin-off show. She has a cool power set, a good design, interesting setting, so taking advantage of that feels like a no-brainer. Same with United Heroes, they had that whole tease where a Guardian approaches Sparrow or whatever her new name was. Was it just Eagle? Can't remember. And so that's another tease. I mean, I'll eat my hat if they don't follow through on both of those in a spin-off series. Furthermore, they have those new character names announced, like I mentioned. Rainbow Light. Oh, come on, that can't be real. Variety wouldn't lie to me, would they? Would they? Tiger Force, Captain Justice, Time Master, and Jungle Queen. Well, they certainly have not worked hard on some of those names, but that's okay. So I guess they'll appear probably in world specials, and perhaps depending on their popularity, they might get spin-offs of their own. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that front though. So yeah, all of this, it wasn't really on my bingo card for this year. For Miraculous to make power plays to try to really cement themselves as a media juggernaut going forward into the 2020s and beyond. I've been wanting spin-offs for years, so this is exciting. Although if they don't do that alternate timeline spin-off ever and just never go back to it, I'm going to wonder what's going through Zag's brain. The Paris special is one of the best written pieces of content the franchise has ever put out. It had a dark and intriguing setting. Make more of this! Miraculous Corp feels like a very, very good thing for the franchise's longevity, and indicates it's probably not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Strap yourselves in, kiddies. The ride's only just getting started. Let's keep milking this bad boy, at least for another decade. And so, yeah, that's all there really is to say. And so with all that being said, these have just been my thoughts on things, and now I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of this new Miraculous Corp? Are you excited for the future? Maybe you just want the franchise to die. Whew, that'd be a hot take. Bit spicy. But yeah, curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.